Thanks very much, Catherine. First of all, I want to commend my own colleague, Deputy Tully, for all of her work, not only bringing this motion forward, but in general, and she's a representative on Disability Matters and also on the Autism Committee. I have 2.5 minutes, so the few areas I want to cover, Minister, firstly, I wanted to raise an issue of day services in the South East, particularly in Carlow, Kilkenny. I've been contacted by parents recently who have been given notices that their day service now has to start charging for some additional activities, and there's also been an increase in transport costs. So I see actually both sides of this argument, because in fairness I've also met with management in some of the day services and they're struggling. It's sort of like the voluntary contributions in schools. They don't want to have to charge it, but I suppose for parents and for people who have somebody in a day service, you know, they're unsure as to when this is going to end. And the reason I'm taking the opportunity to raise that is a number of parents were hoping to meet with yourself, Minister Rabbitte, and I think we actually had a very successful meeting. It could even be 2 years ago now, but at least a year ago, with another issue in the South East that actually got resolved. So if you would be open to that, I'm going to take the opportunity to ask you possibly. It would be a constructive meeting just to try and actually get a resolution to the issue. I just want to briefly mention, and it's been said, and sometimes I'm not sure what more we can say, but in relation to just the lack of services for children with additional needs, whether it's waiting on an assessment, whether it is waiting on a therapy. I also wanted to just really briefly mention housing, because sometimes that part of it falls through the cracks, and just the difficulty with people in relation to housing. Recently I've had 2 people, they're carrying their very severely disabled son up the stairs. He's 15. And they can't seem to be able to be allocated a bungalow property. And the other issue I wanted to really briefly raise is a woman who basically was recently told by the HSE to go to Argos to buy a particular stroller for her son who needs a wheelchair. And it's just to get the opportunity to raise some of these issues that's really not acceptable. I see the clock is ticking and I want to give my colleagues time, but I just commend the motion as well. Thank you.